Okay, I'm gonna click it in 3 seconds. 1, 2, and 3. Alrighty, guys. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to ICP Squad's next video. Today, I'm Victor, ICP Squad with ICP Squad. Today, we have some very special guests that I'm very excited to have here. We have Egido Val once again from the WAGMI collection in IC Bucks. We have Uncle Daddy. I guess his official title is Propaganda Minister or Minister Propaganda for WAGMI. And we have Easy Steve with Entrepot. So, guys, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let's go ahead and start with Easy Steve for those that don't know you.
Hey guys, I'm Steve, or Easy Steve online. I'm a co-founder at Tonic Labs, and so Entrepot all over there. Nice to be here.
Glad to have you, Egido.
Hello everyone, my name is Egido Val. I'm the artist behind IC Bucks and WAGMI and many other artworks, and I'm glad to be here.
Uncle Daddy, pleasure to speak to you, Victor, and to everyone listening. I mean, yeah, Minister of Propaganda, loosely translated as a marketing specialist. You know, just I love marketing. I love selling things, and hope to do that on ICP.
All right, guys. So pleasure to have all of you here. We were also going to have Duke, who is my boss with D Squad and ICP Squad, but he was unable to make it. So that puts me in a better spot because I have some opinions on this topic. But the conversational topic for today, I see Uncle Daddy laughing. The conversational topic for today is are zero fees a terrible business model? But to go even further into the topic, I want to talk about not only zero fees, because I myself don't advocate all the time for zero fees, but are high fees a problem with NFTs? So right now we have Steve, who is in charge of Entrepot, the biggest marketplace I think in ICP. One of my favorite artists, Egido Val, and Uncle Daddy, a huge not only minister of propaganda or marketing, but also a very active member in the WAGMI Discord groups and in the WAGMI, I guess, ecosystem. So I want to hear from all of you, kind of your opinions. I know Egido has some strong opinions as an artist, so let's go ahead and start. Egido?
Well, it's a strong topic, and I have strong opinions about it. But at the same time, obviously, I'm good for talking about that. So, in my case, I will say that zero fees it's a bad thing for the whole ecosystem because artists deserve to be paid, and that's it. If you don't want artists to get paid, then you shouldn't expect them to work or um, to get rewarded, because there is no incentives for artists to work if they aren't getting paid. And you have to keep in mind that for people who are working right now, they should know what's going to be. If there is going to be a set of fees, they will need to change all their project, because it changed everything. So yeah, it's something that it has a very strong impact on everything, and it's an opinion that shouldn't be taken lightly, and it has so many ramifications around the whole ecosystem, not only NFT but in general, because everything is connected. So I think that people should price their collection whatever they want. Even if they want to put their fees on 60%, it's up to them and to people to decide if they want to pay or not. The thing is that when you create, I think you should be able to define what are those fees, and it's up to the people to decide if they want to pay or not.
I think that's a really good thing you said there, that it's up to people to decide. So I know, uh, I think the this conversation started, I think, with me and Egido with another Twitter user who mentioned that if fees were lower, then by economic principles, therefore people would trade more, and therefore it would have more volume, and it would result in a larger amount of ICP for the artist. So, Steve, do you want to pitch in here? I know, for example, Entrepot has a 1% fee, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that goes to Entrepot. And
Mhm.
to me, that 1% fee is like, okay, so that's seems like to me is enough to where you would get revenue, but it's also enough to where traders aren't kind of like, I guess, like dislike that fee. So whenever I go and I sell NFT, I never feel like the entry fee is too much, right? So when I sell
Mhm.
an NFT, I don't feel like, oh man, I'm gonna sell this NFT and they're gonna take most of it. It's always like, okay, whatever, it's 1%. They're putting the marketplace together. If it wasn't for a marketplace, I would have to hunt them and then one by one and go to the person, kind of like buying a car. So it's kind of like I don't mind paying it, but whenever those fees, personally, as a trader, because I consider myself both an art appreciator in a way, but also a speculative investor, which I think many people are. So, Steve, can you tell us about fees and kind of what you think about all these things?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to take a step back for a second, and then kind of lay my thoughts out there. I've been following this conversation along really closely, right? Because it's directly impacts everything I do. And so one thing you have to understand is that any NFT, at least with current contracts that are out there, anyone can build a marketplace. All the NFT needs is a transfer function, and anyone can build a marketplace contract, right? Where that transfer function is used to move the NFT to a new contract, and then it's escrowed with funds, and the transaction takes place. And this can be done. So anyone can do this with any NFT, not just on ICP, but on Ethereum or Solana. And that's exactly what's happened is you have these marketplaces that have popped up and said, hey, we're not going to honor creator royalties because it's not enforced at the contract level. And they build these marketplaces and they undercut every other marketplace by usually 1 to 10%. Okay. And so that's kind of how this whole conversation has even gotten kicked off, because for a long time, the larger NFT and crypto community just uh, respected these royalty fees that creators were put in place with, right? And so now we are entering an era where people have started to create marketplaces that just circumvent those fees. And you'll see that there's, I think, one, and it's in almost every Twitter battle I've seen about this right now so far, there is always either people that are strongly against and strongly for, and oftentimes I feel like they're arguing over the wrong things. So there's two main groups, and you'll find that most people that are for zero fee marketplaces are arguing that these are projects that should be raising funds some other way. Or if it's art, they say that just price it what it's worth at the very beginning. And then on the other hand, you have and this might be true for larger projects. They potentially don't need right. I say royalties to survive and be successful, right? But this doesn't work when you have projects that are art focused and are really just art focused, right? And this is like what so much of NFTs are, okay? Because your project is your artwork, right? There's no other project to monetize. You're not going to raise funds to produce artwork you've already made, right? It doesn't work. And then people always, there's the argument, price it what it's worth when you first sell it. And it's a huge turn off from what is the traditional, like the biggest selling point of Web3, because I mean, you walk into any museum and pick a piece of artwork off the wall, and when that was first made, it was probably not worth anything, right? Artwork over time often appreciates in value, or at least when it's very significant. These $1 million pieces weren't $1 million when they were first made, and so for the creator to take advantage of any future value, that's now gone. And so I often see people that are fighting about these two very different things. And both kind of failing to recognize that the other group is there, or failing to recognize that this isn't something that, at least with our traditional fee model, can't be enforced at the contract level. There are potential alternatives that we can talk about, but as it is right now, as long as there are people that are going to make a marketplace that doesn't honor royalties, odds are they're going to come out, at least the way it's going right now, come out on top with Magic Eden and the pseudo swap. They're doing very well, haven't been around that long. So that's kind of where my head's at with this.
All right, so that's great to hear. I think so with the topic, I think there's one exchange that comes to mind, and I am not mentioning it to like throw heat or anything. The first one that comes to mind on ICP is Meme Cake. So personally, let me go ahead and say I do trade on Meme Cake, but the only thing I buy on there is KIP NFTs, the little dinosaurs, because I like it. But I do understand where some artists may have a problem with, for example, they're getting royalties on Entrepot, but then their collection gets listed on another exchange and they're no longer getting royalties for that. And I think me personally, I have two opinions on that. So opinion number one is, well, I want the NFT project to be more successful. And in order to do that, I want the artist active. I want there to be, I don't know, maybe more airdrops, maybe community engagement, more posts on Twitter and stuff like that. So I want the artist to be active, and in order to incentivize the artist to be active, well, I want him to get some royalties from all of the trading that's going on, right? On the second hand, I have like the more philosopher me, which thinks like this, okay? Web3 is supposed to bring about digital property, right? When something is my property, I ought to have the right to own it. And because I can own my property, I can do with my property as I please. So for example, I don't know, I buy like this watch or something. Whenever I go and sell it to a person, if I sell it to like my cousin or my friend or something, there's not like a magic fee. I mean, you have sales taxes, right? But normally speaking, when you sell a used item or something, there's no like automatic fee that's taken away because it's your property, right? So I have both of those things as a dilemma where I want the artist incentivized, but I also want to feel like I actually own something, even if it's a digital property. You guys know what I'm saying?
Very much
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. I while we're wrestling with this, Raul and I were speaking about this before the show, and I looked at it and said, I don't know if I can wholeheartedly justify the royalty method as it stands now, with the price of ICP being what it is. Like if you're looking short term, we looked at it for our collection, and you have to sell at current prices. It's like you got to sell 50 of them to make $5. You can't really do that right now, so we're thinking long term. Yes, we would love for Web3 to be this paradise in which you can hold on to your digital assets, but I don't really know if that's the long-term future. I mean, you have places in the United States that have personal property tax on things that were purchased years ago. I mean, like this is kind of the way that I see it going. And if you can make it set up, those royalties will be worth quite a bit over time. And if you're thinking long term and you believe in your projects and you want to incentivize the artist to keep working, I mean, we've seen, for lack of a better term, we've seen so many rug pulls in just the year that ICP's been going on. And I think much of that could be negated. Could the project be upfront? It's like, hey man, we're getting funding as we go, and we're growing and we're adapting in the same way that a business would. But again, not every NFT project is doing what we're doing, I mean, and what is it we're doing? Like, we're adapting as we're going along. It's, trying to have hands in media and entertainment. You're selling a brand. These things are ultimately brands. And brands come with awareness. Brands come with feelings of belonging. Whatever keeps the community active. Again, it's a case-by-case basis. One of the things that I had really wanted to pick Steve's brain for was this concept that, like, okay, selling the price up front is essentially a mint price, right? So take IC bucks for example. You're minting for 0.9 ICP. At the time, that was double, almost triple the value of what it is now. But could there be a way in which you combine both, right? You have a high price to begin with, and then this transaction fee that's going to keep going throughout, straight to the artist. But I was under the impression that people were getting quite fearful of the legality, as governments are slowly starting to adapt to blockchains and cryptocurrencies. The government's always 5 years behind anything anybody's doing. I mean, if it wasn't, crime wouldn't exist, right? In any case, but then now they're starting to think about NFTs, and they're like, oh God, now we can regulate artwork, which traditionally is very, you want to talk about laissez-faire business practice. I mean, speak to an art dealer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Like, come on. Ultimately, they're paintings.
The way in which I see my NFTs is art with a community aspect to it, and the thing is that if I knew upfront that there was going to be a 0% fee, then I will have priced the things way differently. And it also will have impacted because people isn't ready to pay in this ecosystem what's really worth. It's like that. It isn't that we are ready to be collectors here. It's a journey, and like every journey, it's a process. And when I decided how my collections were going to be, I had to have all these things in my mind. Like, well, if I'm like have like 8,888 supply with all these airdrops, then a fee required. Even with that said, I can say that I'm not opposed to change. I mean, I'm very open-minded, and if everyone decides that they want zero fees and there is no way to, I mean, I don't want to change the whole market, because I think it will take care of itself. I think this conversation is happening right now because we are in a bear market. People didn't give a shit about this when everything was going well, and everyone was spending thousands on those JPEGs, but now they start to think, well, we could take money from this and from that, and it's a dangerous road because it goes to zero, and it's not only artists. This marketplace is everything in between. So the reason why I'm upfront with this is because it's not only artists. This is just the beginning. If you want a third artist fee, then people will say that 1% for marketplace is too high. And well, why not zero? And then what? Everyone will do collections every other week, launch and forget about it. And the market in ICP is not big enough to absorb that kind of uh, not volume, but the amount of collections that will pop up, the amount of scams, because people will was trade everything. If you don't have any artist fees, people will begin to run from one project to another. They are already doing that. Even in Solana, you can see that the other day some collections were flagged because some people took advantage of that zero fees. And I really think the market this conversation is too soon, because if we were focused around, for example, merchandise, how to integrate with the technology and all that, you can switch switch in time from those fees to be supported by merch and all that. But if it's zero, then what's the point of keep working? I mean, it's like, well, I've already sold everything. It's like a sinking ship. There's no. I mean, yeah, I can of
It's the
course
next generation
find.
starving artist.
I can try to, of course, to find new ways with merch and all that. But for art projects, I mean, when you buy a painting, you are buying a painting. The utility is that you like it and you hope that in the future is going to to be worth more than this today. So the only way you can do that in NFTs is you put a high price or you put a low price with a high royalty. You can't have the best art with a low supply and zero royalties. That's an utopia. And if you find that, let me know because I will buy like that.
I think it's also important to separate two topics that are going on here. So, topic number one, exchanges or marketplaces that offer 0% fees, and also artists that willingly offer 0% fees or lower fees on their art. So, for example, you set up on Entrepot, you can choose like 7.5%, or you can choose 2%. Like the artist himself can choose that fee. And then there are exchanges that take that art and then make 0% fees on art that had like 7.5% fees or something like that. So let's kind of separate it a little bit into those two so we can kind of, the viewers can kind of understand what we're talking about here too as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've always been able to, as a creator, to give yourself 0% royalty, right? That's an option on OpenSea since the beginning. Option on Entrepot. It's become more prevalent. There was, what was it, DGods on Sol. I'm not as familiar with Solana NFTs that recently moved to 0%, right? After making $2 million in royalties. Like the month before, they went to 0% and made a big deal of it. And the truth is, that's probably fine for them, and it's probably better for the project. I mean, they'll again, they have other revenue streams, and yeah, and that's fine. And maybe it becomes more common, but exactly what you said is that's not so much of an issue now as it is just a project's decision. And so the change now is that these exchanges are no longer willing to honor these royalties, and they make them optional. And it will cause a change throughout the whole industry. Like it's already happening. Magic Eden has been flip-flopping for like a couple days on it. They tweeted that they were not going to do it, and then they tweeted that they were going to do it. But now what you see, what they're doing, and what I really like is they're looking at alternative revenue streams for creators and artists. And rather than try and fight an uphill battle, that's really a losing one, because if your competitors can offer 10% better deal, like people are going to go to them, especially when it's something as straightforward as an exchange, right? And so it's rather than fight a losing battle, you start to look at alternative solutions for monetization, or even alternative contract types that are more suited for art projects, art alone being the utility, not having a larger product that your NFTs are access to or gated to, but the art is the utility, right? And so it's finding ways to protect and really give a better Web3 experience than you can get on Web2 with NFTs as a creator.
So I do want to add that with what you just said, artists do have the option to set their fees at zero. So I do think that's something that can be looked at. But I also want to point out that with the technology that the internet computer has, wouldn't it be possible to have that enforced on a canister level? So, for example, if an artist really wants their project to always give them a fee. And this not only applies to art, it can apply, for example, in the future to things like PDF textbooks or whatever format is going to be used for NFTs for textbooks or stuff like that. I know one of the use cases for NFTs were college books. So I know when you're a college student, there's like a new version of a book every single like year. So there's this version, this version, this version. I remember in college, I took a Latin course and the teacher straight up said, hey, just buy the one from 3 years ago. It's like $5. It's exactly the same. And I thought that was cool because a lot of the college textbooks are like $100, $50. So I know some are even like $400 when you get to like the sciences or stuff like that. But within the ICP ecosystem, like, don't we have, and I think Steve might know more about this, or somebody who's a programmer. I'm not sure if, how much information Steve has on that, but would it be possible at a canister level to enforce those royalty fees? Because I know textbook companies and stuff like that are looking into NFTs in order to issue things like books, right? Like you sell a book, and instead of having this secondary market on Amazon or eBay for used college textbooks, the students can simply resell their current copy, their digital copy of the book, and then that book issuer can get a percentage fee. Therefore, instead of making a newer version all the time and then charging so much money for that, they can also extract value from that secondary marketplace. So, Steve, I don't know if you know, like, can this be enforced from a canister, from like a blockchain perspective, to avoid circumventing fees?
So the short answer is no. And this is mainly because of the fact that anyone can build a wrapper, with only one exception to this, which I'll touch on, which is a much different contract model. But no, because as long as your NFT can be transferred, right? And that means that you allow for transfers, then basically, as long as that NFT can be transferred to a contract, to a canister, then that canister can act as a wrapper, meaning it can mint a one-of-one version of your NFT, which is a new NFT, but it's a one-to-one, like an IOU. And then that IOU can be traded for zero fees, and then redeemed for the original. And that can all happen without doing anything but a transfer, and transfers don't cost anything, right? So there's really, it is impossible to enforce the royalties using the model that we use now, which is a percentage of the sale volume. Now, the only solution that I've seen or heard discussed, and one that I know actually works in practice, which, and I might be, I can never say this word right, but it's called a Harberger, again, can't say it, tax model, right? And so what this is when you buy an NFT, you're required to then list it. Everything has to be listed at all times. You have to put a price. And as the owner of that NFT, you're required to pay what's considered a tax. So it's a percentage of the price you listed it at, and you pay that every day, month, year, whatever, in order to maintain ownership. And if you fail to pay that, it automatically goes up for auction or up for sale, right, at whatever price the creator sets. And this works because even if you tried to wrap it, that wrapper canister would have to pay the tax because it requires a listing and it requires a tax at all times. And so this is a much different model than we see because it's not sale based. It's just pay to own. Much different model, could work for, especially for one-of-one artists that are looking to do something where they're not putting out a lot of pieces and people are potentially willing to pay a lot of money just to be the one that owns that.
Yeah, I can already imagine people flexing on this, like, oh yeah, man, I pay $10K a month to own this. Swag me.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and so that's the only reason that model works, is because that the wrapper canister would have to pay. So someone has to pay at all times, right? But traditional contracts, traditional marketplace model, percent of sales, it's just impossible to enforce. And at the blockchain level, at the contract level.
Man, that opens a whole new can of worms. The first thing that popped into my head is that new BMW feature that the car comes with heated seats because it's so much cheaper to put heated seats on every car, but then you have to pay a subscription fee in order to have the heated seats working. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I see people flexing about this, like I'm so rich that I can own this NFT for a year, but I also see the dystopian future where you have to pay to own things that you already own. So I know someone mentioned property taxes. I think it was Uncle Daddy, and I don't like property taxes. I think property taxes are horrible. I do get the point where you don't want like people just owning everything maybe or something like that. I don't know, and you need revenue for the state or the county or whatever. But I don't know. I think just like paying taxes is something you already own. Yeah, I don't know. Personally, it's something I would not like to see. But what do you guys think, Egido, Uncle?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, yeah.
I left the United States, it was like, I was like, I
Oh
really
yeah,
just
same
don't
here,
feel
man. Same
comfortable
here.
being in a place where the government has the ability to tax me on things that I already bought, man. No, I don't care for that. But it is the future. I mean, of course that's going to be what happens. I mean, you look at it and you're like, okay, well, what's more equitable now? Now I see where my tax is going on the blockchain, and then the taxpayer is more willing to pay taxes, man. I mean, like it's going to go that way. We're so early. ICP is so green. Some people look at it and like, oh well, you want to compare markets, and you look at the .com bubbles and things of this nature. uh Dude, we're not in 1993. We're like in 1978 when it comes to these things. Like the way that I look at it is, people like your average person, right? Whatever you want to call them, your general consumer. Uh, they didn't really start using the internet until Facebook really took off. I mean, like Facebook moved away from college emails, right? Then you started to have like the old people started to come, and then like the internet got shrunk down into what we call Web 2, where most people who are interfacing with the internet are doing so through uh, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever. And that's the internet to them. And it took a long time for them to grasp that concept. And by the time they grasped it, Web 1 was already a way over. So, man, I think that, this is just kind of the playground. We're in a playground now. And yeah, all your horrors will come to fruition given time. Yeah. Not to. I mean, like, I am an optimist about the product. I think it's going to work spectacularly, but I just
Yeah,
worry
Egido,
about the
you were
moral
gonna
implications.
add something?
The thing about this contract and the technicalities behind is that I will say openly that if I knew you couldn't enforce, I'm not saying it's because Entrepot, because this is happening everywhere in Solana, Ethereum, and all that, I will have taken a different approach in the sense that, well, if you can't define that, and it's a thorough feel, like I said, you have to change all the math behind your project. And in my case, I can adapt because I'm the owner, I'm the sole owner, and I'm the creator, and I'm the artist. And that's an advantage that I don't have like a 10-person team, so I don't need to have 10 people on payroll. So I mean, I have the ability to adapt, but at the same time, you have to put yourself in my position, right? I'm an artist, and well, if I go to an art gallery and I say, or they say to me, let's do a show. I see a marketplace for NFTs, like an art gallery, and it's like, okay, you get your percentage, and it's good because if you get me a sell, I'm not against you getting profit from it. And I think for artists it should be the same. Like for me, the beauty about the NFT market was about making it together, like really,
Mhm.
like, well, let's begin from a low price, not the same as low value, because it doesn't it's not the same. So my reasoning was, if I price like really, really fair, we could grow together. But now it's like, well, zero fees for the artist. So if I knew that before, I would have said, well, I will keep, for example, 10% of the supply, and then I will work on that, because, well, now is a different story. You have to keep in mind that if artists doesn't get royalties, they are going to get paid up front, and real artists are going to price much higher, and I'm not sure if people are ready to pay that. The market is so young. I've discovered it myself that people aren't aware about prices of art. They are not aware, and they think that paying $10 grants them like the Mona Lisa or something. And it's cool. I mean, it's cool to learn about the whole process of collecting. I think that's one of the key aspects of our collection, is that everyone's get to know how all of this work in real time. And that's one of the things that hooked me about NFTs, is this concept of community, of discovering everything, of talking like we are doing right now about all these issues. But at the same time, like I say, that you can't take those things lightly, because it has a real impact. I mean, for example, if I let's say I have a product and I want to sell on a supermarket, and I pay them upfront, like for example, with Entrepot, Mint, they got 6% of the Mint sales. I agree on that, no problem. But that's more than 7K, right? So let's say I paid a business 7K for having my product there and getting paid for each sale. And then now I'm getting zero fees. It's like I have to think about that, and it's not easy to be on my position too. you know it's something that I'm the first one who was talking about this 0% fee. I was talking about this 0% with Uncle Daddy before the gods came with the 0%. But the funniest part about the 0% with the gods from Solana was that they were trading their collection for a whole month without reveal, and they got millions of royalties. And now they are like, we are fine, we don't need say, royalties, right? It's like you can't compare all projects with the same rules for everyone, because rules don't work the same for everyone. It needs to be more case per case basis. But if what Steve said is true, that you can't enforce on the blockchain level, then the space is going to change. And also, I want to tell you something, Victor. You talk a lot about volume, right? Volume, I could see volume as views, for example, for my artwork, because if I get zero royalties and I don't own 10% of the supply, well, I'm getting the same money, but it's viewed by more people, right? I have some of my artworks have been seen by thousands of people, and it didn't bring me the biggest sale of my art career. I mean, it's not all about numbers. I would prefer to be known by 1,000 people, but real collectors, than millions and that don't give a shit. It's a case per case scenario.
So yeah, I get what you're saying. I think what's important to see here is that when it comes to cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency marketplaces, a huge part, and I include myself in this part, I include myself in both parts, a huge part of your audience is going to be speculators, right? So a speculator wants to buy something and then you want to gain value from it. So personally speaking, with IC bucks, I do hold my IC bucks. I don't think I've sold almost any IC bucks, and I like the art, right? When it comes to the Wagme collection, I got that as an airdrop for free, and then I went and I bought some more, and that to me was a mixture between I really resonated with the art, so I felt like I got it. You know, there's people living in tents, there's little details that I kind of get, right, like it resonate with me, like, oh my gosh, the world is going through all of this, and then there's other things like that caught my attention. So when it comes to those things, hold on, something got on my computer. So when it comes to things like that, I think we have to separate it between speculator and then art collector. So I know in the world there's a lot of art collectors, and a lot of them are buying Mona Lisas, they're buying, other artists, Picassos, I don't know, whatever is available for purchase, and it costs millions of dollars, and people want to buy this because they love art, because they love collecting. They find the utility in the art, especially in antique art. I know some modern art or whatever, but with crypto audience, the reality is that a huge portion of the crypto audience are speculators. And I'm not saying this in a way to insult crypto users. I am a crypto person, right? This new game came out with a rocket for in I think it's also meme cake talking about zero exchanges, and so many people flock to it, right? Even I tested it out. I saw some bugs and I told the developers, but that's another topic. But a lot of people, they just want the thrill of like flipping things, investing, and it's kind of like something fun to do. So not just collecting the art, but you want to buy something and you want its value to go up. Even if you don't sell it, you want to see that number go up, right? It gives you a sense of excitement. Like, hey, my NFT is going up and stuff like that. So I do think we have to kind of like, number one, separate between art collectors and then art and then people who are flipping, right? So, for example, me within myself, I resonated a lot with the art, with the Wagme collection, but I got it for free, right? So, if I would have just resonated with the art, I would, and that's it, I would have kept my free airdrop, which I did. I might have sold like one or two, but I would have just kept that and then not bought anything, right? Or keep that and then buy one, two, maybe four pieces that I really really like, and then I would have a sense of ownership. But I resonated a lot with it. And then I also speculated. So I liked the collection. I felt that I got it. I felt that it was something special. And because I felt it was something special, I thought in my brain, other people are also going to think this is special. I better buy some before they do. And then I can sell some of them so that way I can have both money and then I can also have art that I get to keep, right? Because I like money and I also like art. So I kind of balanced it off and said, I'll buy some to sell it for more money, and then I'll both keep some of it, the ones that I like the most, and also have money in my pocket to go buy things because I like buying things and I like speculating. And you can see this. I mean, people are trading at like 125x leverage, right? You're not buying stocks, you're buying crypto. It's a lot of speculation going on here. So I'm not trying to insult speculation because I participate probably the most in speculation, but I'm trying to say that the reality of the crypto sphere, unlike other art spheres, is that there is a lot of speculation going on. And if you want to adapt to the crypto sphere, you have to embrace that speculation instead of telling people you can only buy my piece and hold it. I think speculation should be embraced and encouraged for both the artist's sake and the happiness of the general consumer.
I would like to add one thing to what you said is that if I was against the speculation, my supply wouldn't be as high. I mean, I think that you can be a collector and also have some fun flipping. It's cool. It happens in the art market. People buy four pieces, then they sell one to recover and onto the other thing, or they exchange for other piece they like more. And I'm not against the speculators. The thing is that people are so focused on the speculative part that they are going to get burned and they will not come back. And what's going to happen is that NFTs will be accepted as any other art wave that happened before, and people are going to begin to taking it more seriously. And maybe it sounds crazy, but it will be talked about all of this in the art books, and in the future, in the documentaries from the future, people will be talking about these collections, and they will be like, well, it was so green. I mean, I'm always trying to keep a balance between collecting and speculation. And I would like to add something to this too. And is that, for example, why some people decide to pay higher fees when they go to an art gallery, knowing that they could get the same artwork for less money if they bought in a different gallery? They do that because they like the experience more. Maybe they think they support more the artist that way. What I'm against it is about enforcing everyone what they should do. Like it's zero for everyone. No, I think it's more a question of what people think will be better for them, and I think the market will be taken care of itself, and through projects will stay, and through art will prevail. And in some years, all these clones and all these rock poles will be left in the dust, and projects like ours will prevail, and people will say, oh, it was so obvious, but it is what it is.
We
I
need
think
people putting soup cans on our NFTs, then we'll really make it.
Yeah. Probably.
The
so. I think yeah. Go ahead, Uncle Daddy.
well, I mean, it is all adapting to the novelty of the market, really. And as Egido said, it's we're building something day by day. Interactions. I mean, you talk about DAOs and all these other things and voting and whatever, but yeah, the best way for those things to happen, whether it's in an art collective in a physical form or in a Discord server or whatever the modern version of it is, it's about reacting to the world as you see it, and we're doing that, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm just amazed at the community in general, because look at the ICP chart. I mean, like, my God, what are we doing? What are we doing here with this going on for so long? But we're still here because, deep down, after you're using the ICP blockchain, you're like, oh, dude, I don't really like using those other ones. It's like I kind of feel like everything else is a scam at this point. And I know that that's a point of we often say that in the WAGMI collection, or in the conversation around that, crypto is a scam. I mean, yeah, sure, of course it is. Like, everything's a scam. Everything in the world is a scam if you break it down far enough. If it's to do with commerce from one level to the other, somebody picking cocoa in Cote d'Ivoire who's never in their life tasted a chocolate bar working on a Nestle plantation. I mean, like, it's not like it's not like everything that's existed before hasn't gone through these changes and adaptations to the market. To the initial question, with these royalties, it's obvious that it's going to change, and the question is, do we want to continue to go through with it? I would love to hear the opinions of some of the older members of the ICP community at another time, who were able to remember the eternal September of '94, when the AOL discs started to go out and the internet stopped being comfy. I remember when I was weird for knowing how to use the internet. And I'm not that old, but I used to be weird for knowing how to use it. You get made fun of. What are you doing on there? Only dorks, nerds, whatever. And as time's progressed, now I'm more the opposite. And it's like, oh man, watching these things change in real time with, we're capturing everything. I mean, as Raul pointed out earlier, I mean, this podcast is probably going to be in a documentary in 5 years when you look back at ICP and just laughing
Hi,
at
Mom.
ourselves, not knowing not knowing how we were going to get here. Imagine the guys talking about, Amazon in 1997.
That's crazy. I think something I would like to add about royalties, and not just the exchanges circumventing the royalties, but the royalties set by the creators themselves. That example I gave about the BMW car charging a fee. I don't know if they've done this already. It's something they're going to do, but charging a fee for the heated seats. You have to keep in mind that's BMW making this decision, right? So it's not Honda. It's not, I don't know, like Toyota, right? It's BMW. BMW has prestige. They have this like, oh, I have a BMW, right? So
BMW, if you're listening, put it in a rap video. You can just like turn on the heated seats and you know you really made it.
Put a sticker outside. I have heated seats, right? So it's BMW that's doing it. So in a way, in a way, they're doing it because they have enough prestige to do so, to where their customers will pay that premium, even though to most people or a lot of people it may seem dumb, right? So to me, if somebody says you'll buy this car that has features already, but you can't use them unless you pay more money, I'm going to say no, right? But to a lot of people, they're like, oh, no, I have the heated seats, right? They have that sort of prestige. Apple iPhone does this all the time. Apple iPhones, the parts that they have are not the most superior parts in the market. I think just recently they started putting like actually good processors that they made, but in the past they haven't. Apple computers didn't at first in the past, right? So why could they charge more money? Because they had this prestige in the market already. So let me see if I can share this on the stream. This is the Entrepot marketplace, and the first one I see here is Bitcoin Flower. Bitcoin Flower has 234,000 ICP volume, right? So anybody, you mention Bitcoin Flower and they'll say, oh, that is, the best collection in ICP, the most volume, whatever, right? And that's why they can justify that 7.5% fee. So if I were to go to like scroll all the way down and see some other project, I don't think other projects could kind of justify having a super high fee without the prestige. I go on to other projects. Let me share that again. And I'm not trying to throw heat or say anything bad about projects, because I like probably most of these projects I like. But for example, let's see, OG Metals. I like OG Metals. It's one of my favorite collections. It has a 2.5% fee, right? So despite having a lot of volume, it has a relatively low fee. You look at Pokebots. Pokebots, I think it's a 5% royalty. So you look at these collections, Dfinity, Space Apes, 2.5% fee. So you look at these collections, and the one that I saw from here, the most popular collection, right? That is, the creme de la creme, or I guess it's subjective, right? But at least by volume, the most bestest collection has a 7.5% fee. And going back to my BMW example, I think Bitcoin Flower can do that because people, I mean, I've talked to Bitcoin Flower holders. I personally don't have one. Not that I don't like it. I think it's a fantastic project, but people are really proud of having a Bitcoin Flower. It's very exclusive to own a Bitcoin Flower. So people are willing to pay that premium of 7.5% because it's so exclusive, right? Just like BMW owners might be willing to pay that premium for heated seats, right? In order to have a BMW. Well, so do some holders who want to hold the number one project on internet computer. I mean, when you go on Entrepot, it's the first project you see on there, right? So you don't have, somebody doesn't have to tell you about it. You go on Entrepot, it's right there, right? So some people are willing to pay super high fees because of that prestige. But at the same time, I think if a project doesn't have as much prestige as being in the top number one, or maybe like top three or something, it would be wise for the artist to set the fees maybe a little bit lower, not because their art is worth less. Like I said, a lot of this is subjective. I personally like other projects more than Bitcoin Flower, but not that I'm throwing heat, but I recognize that it has the most volume, probably the most popular collection on Entrepot, if not on the internet computer as a whole. But I think the amount of fees that you charge has to be, in order for the project to be popular, has to be kind of like connected to how much prestige people view of that project. I don't know, Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, I think probably the one thing I would say where incentives are a little misaligned and have always been misaligned is that when you're buying into a project, you're not actually the person that's paying this fee, right? Fees are paid by the seller. And so now you're looking at paying a premium to exit a project. And this is largely where the incentives are so misaligned that it now is very easy for these zero fee marketplaces to pop up and for people that have no problem using them. Because if you're trying to get out of a project, you are, you care way less about, payments to that team. I think regardless of how you're exiting, like it's just the incentives aren't aligned. And so that's partially where I think the whole model that we've had up until now has broken down.
I think
Of
that
course, yeah, sorry. No, I just want to say what I said before, that when we were in a bull market, no one was talking about this. One of the reasons why many people are talking about this is because they have very big positions where they hold not one, but for example, in Solana, like 100, 200 NFTs, and they are looking for a way out, and they are looking, of course, and I understand their reasoning. They are like, I want to get out with as much money as possible. I'm the first one who has been racked, and one of the reasons why I decided to do my own NFT project was because I wanted to create a collection I would like to be a part of, and not a collection just for 1 day or 2 days. If you want to do that, then you are free to do that. But I wasn't looking into that public. And also with the analogy with the BTC flower and all that, when they launched it, the market conditions were different, and also they didn't know if it was going to be successful when they set up the fees. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Steve can clarify me about that. If you can change the royalties after launch, but I thought it was like said, and that's that.
No, royalties can definitely be changed.
Okay.
So because it depends on where the transaction is taking place and if the contract that it's taking place in is immutable or not. So, but yes, royalties can be changed because typically that bit doesn't take
Okay.
place. Yeah.
That's
that
So
is
interesting because just one thing, like I said, I'm not. I want to be clear that whenever this goes, we are prepared, because it's my art, and I was smart in the sense that I had to learn about many things myself, because I know freedom comes to a price. So it's much, I'm better positioned to change whatever need to be changed. But at the same time, I think people should point, we should be talking more about, let's get all these rag people out of the ecosystems, because those are the real problem. The problem isn't the artists getting paid. The problems are people getting liquidity of real projects, but by doing all these scams and rug pulls and drying the whole ecosystem. That's what I think it's affecting more the whole space. All the amount of rug pulls and scams, 90% is like that in every chain, not only ICP, Solana, Ethereum, whatever. If we could get like a more serious version of this space where people take ownership of their NFTs, of their collections, it will change for the better like 100 times. We will see much better art, much better experience. People will take everything more seriously, and it will be better for everyone. I think that's the conversation.
I think that's really smart that you mentioned that. Also, what Steve said, that's the with me personally, that's the only thing that would concern me the most is if you lower fees way too much. a lot of people who want to exit the project are going to exit a lot faster. So I do think that is something that does concern me. So number one, I want to be able to have lots of volume in the collection, right? That's very important to me as a speculator and also as an art holder, because I think as an art holder, art is valuable to me on its own merits, but also having a nice number attached to my art adds value to those merits. I don't know if I'm getting there. So if I hold something that's worth $1 million, that's very, very special to me. But if I hold something that's worth $1 million, but it's also liquid for $1 million, it's worth even more to me, right? I would value it even more. For example, I have like a used car and it's old. It's so cheap, but it's such a nice car, right? Like it was worth so much money when it came out, but now it's anyway. That's probably a bad example, but where I'm going at with this, that is something that does concern me. So I do want to see a lot of volume, but I also want to see the artist compensated for their work, so they'll continue to make more art or engage in the community and do more community building or whatever. But I also that thing that Steve pointed out, I would also be concerned that if fees are completely zero, completely gone, I think during a bear market that could be a race to zero. So that is the one thing that to me personally, I would say maybe artists shouldn't lower their fees too much in that regard. So thank you for pointing that out, Steve. I think that's very important.
Could it be something, as I'm listening to these different ideas that are going through, Raul had mentioned, trying to weed out the rug pulls in the ecosystem. I mean, we've joked about that on the WAGMI Discord. I'm like, man, there's an episode of South Park. South Park predicted everything at this point. They've been around so long. I think it was season 8, episode 11, right? Where they're all sitting around. It's called The Quest for...
I like how you know all the seasons and episodes.
Yeah. I used to have them on DVD, and I just have them all itemized and go through them. But, the reason why I bring this up is because the creators of South Park often did a good job of showing what it's like to have to go through the creative process and making this episode in which the characters are all sitting around trying to come up with ideas for the news, right? Which was supposed to be funny, but now as we progress in time, we realize the news is more and more like that. Always has been. I mean, we watched Citizen Kane as well. But in this episode, they're getting beat in the ratings. They're making good news. They're getting beat in the ratings by close-up animals with a wide-angle lens because everybody's just kind of on that wavelength. And we've talked in the Discord about, dude, it seems like people want to get rugged. I mean, it can't be as blatant and out in the open as I think it should be. I think from an artistic perspective, I want to have IC rugs. I want to have an awesome, detailed rug, like a rug NFT. And when we say we're going to rug this on an unforeseen date, and it's like gambling. People would be like, "Oh my God, this is great! I'm going to buy in, and I know when they're going to do it, and this, and that." And because that's, I wouldn't buy into that. But it's not about me; it's about the consumer, right? I mean, they're the ones who ultimately have.
That's such a good idea, man. Like, hey, we're gonna put 10,000 ICP into this, but then we're gonna remotely rug it. That'd be so crazy. It's just like the rocket game. Just like the rocket game.
People who are gonna refuse to sell. They're like, no. It's like they never hatch gang out of the dinos, or the people who won't open wallets from IC bucks. Like, no way, dude. Not selling.
We're probably all just a bunch of gambling addicts that just happen to be technologically inclined guys.
Probably.
Yeah, that's something.
I like Steve's smile.
Yeah, that's something I discovered. It was that me, of course, like people in crypto tend to be like gambling addicts, and they like to push hard in that direction. It's more like a gamble.
I'm literally flying to Las Vegas on Saturday.
There you go. I mean, I'll admit it, dude. I'm not embarrassed. Like I'm not embarrassed by it. I think there's a lot of people. They're like, well, this project has to have utility. But like, what is it gonna do? And I'm a huge advocate. Like a lot of times, having a lot of volume and hype is the utility. Like that is the utility. Like if something does nothing but it has volume and hype, that's a lot more utility than like something that has actual utility if you're a gambler. So I don't know where I'm going with this, guys. But
you,
God,
you, you just want to gamble.
I just want to gamble sometimes.
We mustn't forget that it is a speculative market.
It's a speculative
And
market.
The gambling aspect of it is a major part of the psychology. I mean, for the most part,
straight up, I don't even have a 401k. Like, I don't even ever want one. Like, I
dude.
just, it's not speculative enough. No, I'm just playing. But look at Steve. I love Steve's facial expression.
You know what? With this gamble thing, with IC bucks, the idea of wallets came to me because uh, I I have like a good idea in that sense that people were going to they were going to fail in the sense that they were going to open those wallets, and I wasn't wrong. Everyone decided to open those, and it was fun. I mean, there's a fun aspect to it, to gambling. It's exciting, and art can be exciting. So I like to combine those two things. I think art can be exciting, and one of the reasons why I decided to make NFTs too was because I wanted to make art more exciting for people, because I really think it's exciting, and the problem is that people don't know how to transmit the passion they have for their projects. Is that they create something and then they hide for 6 months and come again for the next art exhibition. And with this NFT space is much more real time, like you have like a real insight into the mind of the artist, and I think that's very interesting.
Rug gambling NFT. No, just, but yeah, guys.
I survived Funfair of 2017.
Okay, so I think like meme cake gets this. You know, meme cake is making. They already launched the Rocket game, right? And during a bear market or during periods of stagflation or stagnation, whatever, you know, the charts for Bitcoin have been just so choppy recently. People are going to this game and getting that same thrill that they used to get from the huge volatility of spikes going up and down on Bitcoin. They're getting that same thrill with that rocket game. Like, I know it sounds dumb to a lot of people. It might sound dumb, but people are getting so much thrill from that game. Where a lot of times in crypto, thrill is the utility. Like, a token doesn't have to like give you a game or a movie or a story or whatever. A lot of times, like, thrill is the utility behind the thing. And I believe this for a lot of things. I know a lot of people criticize Doge token, because saying it doesn't do anything. I mean, look at it now, right? Look at Doge token now. Even Bitcoin. I mean, what's the utility for Bitcoin? Does it give you a game or a story? No, it's a speculative asset, right? And some will call it anti-inflationary or store of value or something like that. But mostly for a huge amount of people, it's a huge speculative asset with a lot of volume, the most volume out of any digital speculative asset. I would argue. I think Uncle Daddy got disconnected and reconnected. Let me add him back on. But with that being said, I think all artists and exchanges and everybody, and I think Meme Cake is already doing this. Look at your audience. Okay, your audience likes the thrill of volatility, right? Who else likes volatility? I've never met like an older person who is, you know, working 9 to 5 that said, you know what, I want my retirement account to go up and down every day. No, they don't. They wanted to go up slowly, right? Or you know, crypto people are probably one of the few people that, you know, you like this. You know, you like it moving up and down. It's exciting, right? Number go up, number go down. Oh my gosh, it's like a game. So although I'm not an advocate of gambling, like go gamble your life away or something like that, no, I do recognize that a lot of this is it's almost kind of what it is, right? It's the excitement and the thrill on itself is the value to a lot of these assets. And I think artists, exchanges, and everyone should embrace that and give users what they want: a thrill, an opportunity to change your life or maybe wreck your life. I don't know, but I think like that's like the core in a lot of crypto, not in all cryptocurrency, but in a lot of cryptocurrency. I think that's the core. Other than that, the other thing would be privacy, right? The protection of your money, having your accounts not frozen, moving money all over the world and stuff like that. But unless you're doing that, that's the next big thing the next biggest thing is that volatility in gambling, right? The thrill of number go up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so much of that falls to, marketers in your case, Dfinity itself. And it's hard because we have this product, right, that we're using. I like to refer to myself as an ICP enthusiast, right? Because that way I sound like far less of a gambler. You start to try and talk to this blockchain, that blockchain, or whatever, to somebody who's not sort of in the crypto world. We all sound like we're arguing between VHS and Betamax, except that there are 100 different versions to them. And, I think we need to just really enjoy just enjoy what we have here, being able to have such a close community. I mean, we see, people from all over the world, and we're conversing day by day, whether you're in Seychelles or Costa Rica or Mexico. Apparently everybody who works with Egido is Mexican. Like
That's funny, man. That's funny.
Everybody, we're all over the world working together. And it is, I mean, we see these messages, put throughout.
That was an inside joke for something.
The friends are, we're all going to make it together. And if we stick around long enough, we'll have a lot of fun. And I'm just, I just take it day by day like that, because we can worry about those big problems when we have big problems to worry about. What's going to attract people is, we have reach to so many different worlds, and there's such captive audiences. YouTube segmenting this population, it's no longer like you have to break into the mainstream. Andy Warhol was right. We have hundreds of thousands of little mainstreams for every single different thing. And as long as a few of those communities start to resonate with what we're doing on ICP, we're going to see far more of them come. Because, I mean, you've all worked on other blockchains. It's annoying. Dude, I don't want to pay gas fees anymore.
Yeah. So I do want to point out that when it comes to the actual internet computer like ICP, I don't view it just like a speculative investment. If I did, I'd probably be hugely disappointed because it's been just going down. But when it comes to the actual internet computer and the ICP token, I do view it like the next technological advancement. So I noticed this because I remember when iPhones and iPods barely came out, Apple was so huge on the Apple, what was it called? Like the music, the iTunes or whatever. Right? Like iTunes this, iTunes. When I was in middle school and high school, I never had that. Maybe my senior year. I used MP3 players, dude. I mean, I downloaded I'm not gonna admit to things, but I didn't use iTunes, right? Yeah, I didn't use iTunes. But they pushed so hard for it, right? And Microsoft pushed so hard for their software. And right now, Microsoft is made. Yeah, Zoom. Yeah, the Zune.
Dude, you had those Zoom chads that would always
but right now Microsoft is making. Yeah, so Microsoft is making billions of dollars on software. Apple is making billions of dollars on software, right? There's so much money in software that a lot of people would have thought, well, how can you sell a song if you can just download it for free? Well, now you have subscription services. You have YouTube Premium. Me, the most downloading person when I was in middle school, have a YouTube Premium account, right? Like I have a YouTube Premium account. Like it's easier for me to pay, $5 or something to listen to all the music I want instead of, when I was, like in middle school, I would just download songs. So even I've fallen into giving big tech money. But what I'm going at with this is these people push so hard in order to have digital content and be able to sell it to a user base. And now we have that on steroids with Web3 and the internet computer. You can have digital content that's not only able to be sold on a subscription basis or on an ad basis, but you can sell this content to people who can own it and keep it, type of deal, and with royalties or whatever. So when it comes to ICP, it's not a gamble. So I do like, I know I've been saying I enjoy the thrill, this and that, but to me, ICP is not a gamble. To me, ICP is the inevitable future of digital ownership of property in the future. I saw it, and people make fun of me for this or whatever, but I saw that Coin Bureau video where he was criticizing ICP, and he was like, ICP is gonna take over the world, and I was like, holy fucking shit, I'm buying this. Like, I know it's yeah, it sounds bad,
Yeah.
but that, I already had it. I bought it because I was speculating, and I researched my speculation like afterwards. And I know that sounds dumb, but that's what I did. And I was like, wow, like this is the future. Like people are going to sell digital goods and own them and keep them because now you can have scarcity
And you will be
on,
happy.
and you will be happy.
Yeah, of
And
course.
you're gonna eat bugs, or I don't know, but I saw this and I was like, dude, this is it's gonna happen. Like the digital scarcity on digital goods being sold to people and traded amongst themselves, and not just subscription and not just ads, is going to happen. And out of all of the things that I've seen, this is the most likely one to succeed, that has the technology and the power to do it. So yeah, I just want to speculate that like ICP, I don't think the whole ICP project to me is just a gamble. I think it's probably the biggest freaking thing we've ever seen in a long time. Even though it goes, I'm not even sad that it's going down. Like, I'm sad if I'm doing leverage trading or something like that. But with my neuron, like my Steve is like he likes laughing at my stuff. But I do that sometimes. I think it's fun. I don't do it with a lot of money, guys, but I'll put like 50 or $300 or something in there and trade with leverage. It's fun. But with like my neuron or whatever and long term investments, I'm not even sad it's going down, because I know it's gonna go up. Like I'm so confident on the technology alone that I do think, like, legitimately, not even as a gamble, legitimately think it's like the future of web ownership, I
Sure,
guess.
yeah, and it's developing. I mean, I know there's a get together in Los Angeles next week. I saw that one out. Some in London that have already been successful, and you know, getting together in the real world is nice. I mean, I've never personally been to one of those like tech conferences. I've been in the bar when they're going on, and it's a bunch of people like awkwardly standing around with like some name tag or something, and trying to maintain the persona that they have online and in real life, and it's just all very awkward for everybody. But I think that with the amount of time that truly everybody spends together with strangers, for not strangers anymore, in many cases, I'm sure this is the majority of their social interaction. And as we're evolving to the post-COVID world where this became normalized for 2-3 years, many people still like it. It's the worldwide otaku culture, right? And but that's not, I mean, it's funny in a way, but it's also a very lucrative business opportunity, because who's to say what somebody's version of reality is? I mean, if you get the same friends, I mean, why not?
That's
Tokenize
that's
your friends, tokenize everything.
that's really too, Uncle Daddy. Like personally, ever since I was in, man, I want to say like middle school or high school, I hadn't played video games. Like almost, I had no time. Right, I was either studying in college or in high school. Maybe I bought an
Studying
Xbox. Like,
in college.
there you go. Yeah, I did go to college. So
Studies in college.
yeah, I do study in college. I don't get it. But what I'm saying, what I'm getting at, in high school, I maybe bought an Xbox like one time, played it for like 2 months, and then I sold it because I didn't have time, right? And then during COVID, you couldn't like do. I tried to go to like a restaurant, like it was closed. I tried to do this, like there's so many things that you couldn't do like anything else, right? And then all the jobs turned digital almost, and everything. I mean, I'm a prime example of that. I have a digital job, right? I don't have to like go anywhere. But during 2020. And you can see this in the revenues. The revenues for gaming just went up, insanely went up. I mean, Fortnite made so much money selling skins. Dude, I bought a Fortnite. I never liked buying digital content ever. I thought it was so dumb to buy digital content. I was like, man, it's so dumb to buy digital content. I bought some Fortnite skins. And I liked it, right? I owned nothing and I liked it. So what you're saying is, it's so true, man. Like, when you can't go outside through quarantines or whatever, like that's your window to I'm looking at the window to the world right now. I mean, there's a physical window right behind me right there, but I'm looking at the screen. I'm looking at you guys. I mean, I don't know where Steve lives, but I'm sure it's in the United States. Egido Val is in Spain. Uncle Daddy, I'm not sure where he's from, but he's in Mexico right now. but I think he's in Mexico right now. I'm still not sure where Uncle Daddy's from, but
He could be anywhere.
he could be anywhere. He had a Mexican
anywhere.
he had
Uncle
a
Daddy will
Mexican
be in
flag
Vegas in
outside,
2
but
weeks. I'm sorry I
but
can't meet.
but
I will
really he's
be.
in Cuba now. But
Dude,
he's a Russian
my internet's
spy. No.
bad enough up here, man. I couldn't really imagine in Cuba.
Yeah. So
Imagine. Yeah, crazy.
yeah. So
Not, I mean,
so
no disrespect to any people who may be illegally streaming this in Cuba right now.
I didn't know you could do that. That's cool. That's cool if you can do that. But yeah, so the world as we know it is changing. There's so much hype with that metaverse thing, and it supposedly it's flopping. I don't think I don't think the metaverse with Meta or Facebook or whatever Zuck wants to be called nowadays. I don't think it's gonna flop. I think it's gonna be huge. There's people live on their phones. Like there's like a whole new reality which is not real, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can't deny the fact that it's gonna grow. I can't deny the fact that I myself participate in it. Like ever since I bought that freaking Fortnite skin, I knew like it was over. Like like I knew
Uh,
like, oh my gosh, I'm buying digital content, whatever.
I,
But
I
let's
I I would like to add something because you just made me remember that one of the things why it took me some time to get into NFTs was the reason that me as an artist, even I've been working with computer like every day for years. uh, it didn't click until I discovered the community part of it. It was then where I was like, well, now I get it, because for me it didn't make sense to pay more than you will pay for a screen printed or a signet print or whatever. Even like I said, even if I was into computer, it it didn't click until I discovered all these community aspects, and it was then that I said, well, it makes sense now. So some things take time, and I think it's going to come both sides. We are not going to be full digital or full uh, real. We are going to merge, and I think, for example, our galleries are going to be uh, like a mix between traditional art galleries and NFT marketplace, in the sense that there will be exhibiting like digital artwork in real spaces, and all those things will come together. There is a reason why there are some of these NFT gatherings where people go and they look into all those screens and all that, because it's cool. Even if you buy all those NFTs, you want to get like a hold of them. You want something real behind.
That's true.
I'll put it this way. All right. You said you didn't have time for video games in your youth.
I had a lot of time
I
in my youth.
unfortunately- I
Once I was a young
unfortunately
adult, I
did.
didn't have much time. When I was
Yeah.
like before
Yeah.
13, video games all the time.
All right. I want you to imagine this world, okay? Because it's easy as we age to sort of stay with our age group as we age. Imagine you were 13 or 12 and you're playing World of Warcraft or whatever the new modern version of it is, and you are on your mount and you're circling the Ungoro crater and you're just mining mithril. But that mithril actually can be quantified, put into a token, and you're sustaining your life. And you
I
better
just want to point
believe
out that I have
people
no
are
idea what you're
going to
saying. Like I don't know. I never played that game that
They're
much. I
going to
downloaded
go,
one time and I
they're
was
going
like,
to be
yeah.
hooked up, and their life is going to go from being 15 to like 70, whatever the mandatory euthanasia age is. Like you'll get the option, like
gosh.
government free. You won't even know what's going on. You'll still be playing the game, and it's like you will still have that level of life progression. I really do believe it. I mean, you look at the sci-fi writers of the last century, and I mean, it's not like they're looking into a crystal ball. They're just reading the newspaper. It's just like this is the reality. People outside in tents with solar powered Bitcoin miners or whatever. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, we're really weird, man. Like I told my girlfriend the other day, like, hey, like I just bought this dinosaur on the internet, and she's like, okay, well, when are you gonna get it? I'm like, what do you mean when am I gonna get it? It's right here. and she thought it was so dumb, like that. Like she's like, why are you buying so many fucking dinosaurs? And I was like, you just don't get it. Like, but like, guys, we're already like in that. And I don't know, and I don't know if I want to call it this. We're already in that dystopian world, so I don't know if it's dystopian or exciting. Like on one end, I enjoy digital content, like I use my Fortnite skins, whatever. I enjoy the community from NFTs. I enjoy owning digital art, but on another side, it's like, wait a minute, this is digital. Like I don't own Egido Val's artwork, so I'm talking to him right now, which to me is like a huge honor. Like, hey, this guy made this art, and I'm talking to him on video. It's huge, right? But I don't have a physical copy, and I've been wanting to print some physical copies on my own, but we're already like
Visit the website.
and yeah, we're already in that weird world where we own digital things. Like, do we actually own anything? That's great. I don't want to open that kind of worms. So before I proceed opening more, before I proceed opening more cans of worms or whatever, I do want to say we've been on for like an hour and a half. So you guys let me know if you want to continue. Viewers, let us know in the comments. If not, we'll end this right now and continue to another one. But I'm having fun, so I'd like to continue. So it's up to you guys.
Sure. I can't. I don't have any access to any comments or anything like that. But if there's anybody there,
I was gonna say, where are the comments?
You can, if you guys go, yeah. So if you guys go, yeah, this app doesn't have that because I'm using like a studio account. But if you guys go on your phone and open the YouTube app, you can read the comments on there. So I see Sabra
if I
saying
watch
hi.
this while I'm on this,
Just lower the volume.
The universe?
No, as long as you lower the volume, because if not, it'll create an echo thing. But if you, yeah, so like, good morning, everyone. Cha Unk Ha Eji Sub Easy Yavik. I don't know what that says, but hello. But yeah, you guys can open it on your phone. Just turn the volume down. That's how I read the comments, at least.
Yeah. Are you hearing like a click, like click, click, click?
I
Or
think
it's me?
I'm hearing a keyboard.
Yeah, me too.
Let me mute my mic.
No.
I think it was Uncle Daddy. No.
No,
Is it
Daddy
me?
doesn't have a keyboard. In any case, you know, I mean,
I do hear that.
The is the click still there?
No, it stopped.
It might have been my microphone. I guess it's so sensitive.
Well, sure. Let's go through some of the comments because I'll maybe 15 more minutes, then we'll split. We don't want to keep everybody on forever.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So go ahead and comment if you're watching the live, and then we'll read some of them. So I think it's just people saying hello. Hello. I thought it's on Twitter. when Boxy collab. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Hi. Art with a twist. Hi all. What's up, everyone? Hi, Six Fig. And then that other one it might be another language. Cha Unk. Ja Edgy. Sup easy. Yeah, Vic. I don't know what that says.
I think that there is another comment or something.
Egido Val just commented, nice mustache.
It was for you, Uncle.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I have extreme. I can't go more than a month without changing my facial hair. I don't know what that says.
I'll look like a completely different person when I grow my facial hair. I look so. If I grow out my one time when all the hair places were closed during COVID, like I tried cutting my own hair because it just looked so nasty. It was growing like an afro, and I was like, it can't be that hard. And then I cut it, and it looked like a pineapple. I was like, oh my gosh. So then I just like so then I just put like I just put like number 1, and I thought it would look like a military haircut, but it did not. I looked like I was bald. I was like, holy fuck. But the point of this, I had facial hair when I did that. I looked so dangerous, man. I looked like I was from like the cartel or something. I was like, I'm never doing this again, man. Oh my gosh. But that's
We
why I
need
don't grow
some
facial hair.
photos, man. You have to make your profile picture.
I might have one photo. This one kid, he made a meme because I took a picture and he's like, man, just take a picture going like this. I was like, okay. And I took a picture and he made this meme and it was like, Inshallah Akbar. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
I was like, bro. It was
but honestly,
that was mean. That was mean.
Why not?
Yeah.
That's a market we need, and expanding and seeing the different communities within the internet, you know, within ICP, right? Indonesia has a huge following, Vietnam has a huge following, India, Nigeria, Japan, you know, Raul and I are both learning Japanese to, hopefully tap into that market, because I mean, it's just the appreciation for the artwork is there. And despite language gaps and barriers, I mean, there's just, just giving back to these individual communities that make up the whole is what I hopefully foresee for everybody. I mean, like we can localize everything and then feel the a part of the greater whole. And for that reason too, I bet on ICP. I mean, that's the global initiative at this point, isn't it? I mean, look at what we're doing. When we were born, all of us were probably born between 1980 and 1995, somewhere in there. This was spaceman stuff, man. I mean, like this is Space Odyssey 2001. Speaking in the box, and honestly, I mean, look, marvel at what we're doing. And realize that as the 30-year roadmap of ICP continues to unfurl, we'll really be in it. Uncle Daddy, because Uncle Daddy himself is not me. I mean, that's not the person. That's a character that exists within Twitter and within Discord and within the NFT projects, within Log Me Dystopian Club. And that sort of blend between reality, that professional wrestling meets politics, meets art. I mean, it's always been there. Life in the public eye has always been an element. There's always been an element of theater to that. But now, as we're realizing everybody is doing it, I mean, what a strange reality we found ourselves in.
Alrighty.
It's freezing.
Is it freezing?
No, the DK
Oh,
say,
like you're cold.
Oh.
but back Street Boys ICP. Yeah, sure.
He's
Backstreet
waiting for the
Boys,
Punky
right?
Rim Boys.
There you go. I don't know what that is. But yeah, I definitely enjoy Steve's smile every time I say something about gambling. He's just like, all right. 25
Yeah,
X,
no,
100,
I mean,
125 X.
Thank you to Steve.
I
I want to
think
say thank you to
it's
Steve.
cool. I
I'd
think
love to.
it's cool that we have these conversations because it gives all of us like a more human side. Like Victor, you and me, like we chat for a bit, but not much. And right after we talk with each other, it was different because we know our faces now. It's way different because sometimes you need to talk with someone to know what they are about, and I think it's very cool to keep all these podcasts and conversations going because we don't need to agree 100% about everything, and we can still have a good conversation and a good time. We don't need to have this cult mentality where everything else is shit and it's just us, because that doesn't make you like improve or anything. I consider myself very open-minded that after this conversation I will think about this again. I mean, I'm not like this goes to the to the tomb. It's more an open-minded conversation. I love it. I wish there will be more conversations around ECP with our faces on it, because people, I think, will appreciate all of this even more, because there is real people behind our projects, not
Yeah, so
not that we are hiding behind anonymous characters or something.
that's why I enjoy this a lot more than like just Twitter Spaces. I do like Twitter Spaces, but I enjoy this a
Yeah,
lot more because you can see like Victor ICP Squad, you can see Easy Steve or Steve, Egido Val, Uncle Daddy. Like we're all real people, right? People buying NFTs are real people. People selling NFTs are real people. People having the marketplaces are real people. At least so far, right? One day maybe an AI will make an
Yeah,
exchange
yeah.
or something, but so far we're real people as of today. We're real people, right? We have problems. We have things that we like, we don't like. We appreciate the art. We like gambling, going to
yeah,
Las
of
Vegas or
course.
or, or
I mean,
whatever.
I'm the first who likes gambling. I took a big risk launching an NFT project. I didn't knew if it was going to mint out. It was more like a big gamble for me, because if it didn't work out, then it will be there forever, and everyone will see that and say you are a fucking loser. You know, it's like it's not that I don't like to gamble. I like to gamble, and you put me in the mood of thinking about that, because I think yeah, you are right in the sense that people in this space for NFTs aren't like hardcore collectors, so that's not a possibility, that's a reality. So let's focus on that.
Yeah, I think we can make a good mixture of both. Like make good art that people are proud to own and you enjoy it. I personally did with the Wagner collection, but also make it easy to speculate so we can have fun speculating with something that we like. I usually there's a lot of NFTs that have done very well, very well. Bitcoin Flower is probably the prime example of this, and I didn't buy it because it didn't vibe with me, right? So this is in no way a diss of Bitcoin Flower. I think it's literally the best project on ICP for NFTs if you look at volume alone. But it didn't vibe with me, so I didn't buy it. So I think there is a mixture between like, do I enjoy this from an objective standpoint as art, like objectively art, and then also will I have fun with this in a speculative way, and will it make me money? So if you can balance those two things, where something is fun, it makes you money, and you like it, I think that is the perfect trilemma, or I guess the opposite of trilemma, because it would be a benefit for NFTs. Like, is it fun? Will it make me money? And is it pretty? Like, do I like it? And if you have those three things, I think you have the perfect NFT. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
like to make this analogy where ICP is like a small city, in the sense that there is people, but there are not as many people as other blockchains. So it's a small city where I think people should focus on creating things that don't try to take like I don't know how to explain in English this concept, but it's more about creating your own thing rather than trying to steal people from others by doing rug pulls and all that shit, or even copying concepts. I don't understand that. There are not so many projects, so let's focus on you want to make a project, you do whatever, but it's cool when people have their own projects with their
Hey,
own ideas, and they are living all around this ICP thing. So
apparently even the
uh,
big man, Dominic, likes copying concepts from his retweets today. But
yeah.
it, there are so many, that so many good ideas, and the cream will continue to rise. And I think as we all grow and evolve with the space, it is. We're still here a year after, and you talk about these various flexings on people, your 5-digit internet identity number over there, the true OG,
Yeah,
the
that's
I feel like
crazy.
Uncle
the
Daddy's just going through my profile, and I just every tweet I say, he's saying something about it. He's just like,
which one now? No.
no, just everything I said. He's like, yeah, 5-digit identities. But one of the YouTube comments says, where can you buy ICP NFTs? My friend, look no further. Right here, Steve's
Good.
entrepot.app. I know it's pronounced entrepot. I didn't learn that until like 6 months
On,
into it.
on, I didn't either. Entrepot.
Yeah,
Entrepreneur.
entrepot. I can't even pronounce it, but it's
Ludo can.
spelled entrepot. So entrepot dot app. Entrepot dot app is how
I'm
you.
signed in as Tonic Labs.
There you go. It's how you would go there. So that's the main place. There's also a lot of other exchanges. Just on Twitter, search CCC Marketplace, memecake.io, ICP Swap, and you guys can mention other ones. But the biggest one right here, Entrepot dot app. So go buy NFTs there. You can also go on our channel, ICP Squad. There's a whole video tutorial on how to buy ICP NFTs. I think it's like one of the first ones, like the third one. So you can look at that for a tutorial, how to build an internet identity and all that. So if you want to get into ICP, that's the first thing you need to do. Build an internet identity. That is identity.ic0.app, which I also didn't know what that meant at first, but it's internet computer 0.app. And that's how you can get into the whole ecosystem and own digital property.
I've been, for maybe 7 months since Genesis, I've been calling. I called internet identity. I would call it 2 in my head, and when I was typing it out, I would do I because it's I. It's right. And so I've just been to myself. I'm just like I write it as Roman numerals. And I called it 2 out. It took like months. I finally called it 2 out loud to someone. They didn't know what I was talking about. And I was like, 2, like the login.
Did you find
what? Like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
the Sonic. Yeah, I just noticed that too. But like the Sonic website, I always thought it was Sonic.ooh because it's 3 L's.
Yeah, me too.
Sonic.ooh.
Even with the names, it's kind of difficult because people, to me, they always call me Egido or Egido or whatever. And even my cousin on Facebook puts his surname miswritten on purpose because no one gets it, but it's Egido,
I remember when we invited Six Figs into the channel, he was like, "Yeah, that's an excellent comment, Egido." I was like, Egido.
No, but it's cool, It's like whatever.
I get it. In English, even in Spanish. In Spanish, you have to have like a U after the G in order for it to make the G sound. If not, it makes the J sound, which makes not a lot of sense. But in Spanish, it's Egido. But if it had a U, it would be Egido. Like my middle name is Miguel, and it has a U. And people in English would be like, "Hi, your name is Miguel." And I was like, no.
And if it's spelled with a J here in Mexico, it's a type of
it's a huh. It's a huh sound. Yeah. I remember one time, my friend was like, "What are you guys laughing about? Why are you guys? Whenever you laugh, you always say ja." But he meant ha 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 ha. Yeah, that was funny. I want to ja with you. That's funny.
Well, Victor, I hate to cut it short, but my time limit has come.
Same.
Wanted to say thank you for the invitation. Thank you to Steve for his time, and he's the hardest working man aside from Raul that I know from the internet computer. But I couldn't imagine every single project that has to go through Steve, and your inbox in the morning just must be like the whole world is ending for every single person. And I know that when our collection launched, it was the same sort of thing. But I have so much respect for the work you and Bob do, and everybody that's over there. And I hope to continue to work for a good long while. And we look back at these and kind of laugh at our big meetups in a couple of years. And I'm positive with the right intentions, we're all going to manifest those realities,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We're just getting started. It's only been a year since Genesis. I mean,
we are early as fuck, man.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
but
right.
You know what?
ICP
it really
to the moon.
Sucks being at a party way too early. And you're just kind of looking at your watch going, "Oh God, I know it's 10 o'clock and I have to wait until 2 for this really to get going." So you're just like, But I'm
you say already 6 drinks in when everyone else shows up.
Here is
now you get to have the most fun.
3:45.
Yeah, all right, guys. So if you guys want to end it, we'll go ahead and end it. Again, thank you so much, EC Steve from Entrepo, Egido with the WAGMI collection, IC Bugs, my favorite collections, the Minister of Propaganda, Uncle Daddy. I hope you guys enjoy it. Leave in the comments below if you have any ideas or anything you would like us to talk about or any guests that you would like us to invite to the ICP Squad show. Let us know below in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe. I put all of these gentlemen's Twitters into the description settings, so go and follow all of them. It was a pleasure having you guys, and see you guys at the moon. All right.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.